This is with the help of Hashem. In the last few days, they came out with a declaration that all yeshiva boys in Israel, which are Israelis, the exemption of the army doesn't apply anymore. And the Supreme Court made a decree that the army must draft 3,000 boy yeshiva bochim right away, and then they have to get up to 1 or 2 years, up to 50% of yeshiva boys have to be drafted. 50%. This is the decree they made. Who are they going to start first? No. Yeshiva boys that work in the afternoon on the side and they get a tlush. A tlush means they get payment. Not a payment. They get a receipt, a paper that for the taxes, they pay the taxes. They work wide with taxes. They're the first one to be drafted to the army. Rabbi Dov Lando, one of my rabbis, should live long. I learned in Slobodka with him. He came out with a statement that we have to fight against it and not to draft and go give our lives for not to be drafted.
Mesilas
Nefesh. Now they came to ask me, should I speak about an yeshiva by the Israelis or not? And I said, rabbis of the yeshiva came to talk to me, I should speak about an yeshiva. And I said, no, not nogea to us. But here I'm speaking about it because it's not nogea b'chlal. There's not nogea because really it's nogea to him, but it's not nogea halachic to them. And I want to explain what I mean. It's brought down in the Mishnah Berurah Siman Orach Chaim, Siman Shin Zayin. The Daber Dobo, your words on Shabbos has to be only holy words. You cannot speak Dvorim B'Teilim. You cannot speak about Parnoso. You're allowed to speak about business, about work. No, you're allowed to learn about your work. But the Shulchan Aruch says, but to learn books or to learn how to do your profession, you're allowed to do on Shabbos. Why? It's not the Dibur of Choyim, because it's not considered Dibur of Choyim. It's not a weekday talk. Because the mitzvah to teach your child or yourself, umnus, profession. So on Shabbos, you're allowed to learn the books of, if you're learning how to, computers, if you're learning electricity, electrician, can't open a computer. Yisu Shabbos, but to learn books about it on Shabbos, you're allowed. Because not considered dibur choil, it's a dibur of a mitzvah. Comes the Biur Halacha and he says, you should know. There's a machlokes tanoim. Or I teach my son umnus, or I teach my son the best umnus, which is Torah. He says, even though there are those who hold that they teach their children umnus, but it's Torah and Derech Eretz. Torah is first. Which means you have to send them to yeshiva and teach them ach v'rak Torah when they're young. Bekatnusam, he says, when they're young. When they grow older, if you see you cannot push them to be the level of Rabbino Eroi that will teach my son, and personal advice, the best is to become a Talmud Torah b'yomnus. Okay, his son is going to go to work, it doesn't work. He gave him chances. The Gemara in Mount Kotten says you give a child 5 years. If you see 5 years not growing in Torah and Yeshiva, what age? Give him the 5 years. Probably from Yeshiva Gedolo, started growing on his own, you give him 5 years. He sees after 5 years, he doesn't learn, he doesn't want to learn, so there's two options. Or his Rebbe lo yivlo panim, there's a problem with his Rebbes, or his Rebbes are good, so he doesn't have the ability. So there's a problem. Now, Chavetz Chaim says, if you teach your children melechatchila like the Mizrahi, Torah with Derech Eretz, when they grow up, they will do only Derech Eretz and not Torah. Because the Derech Eretz is so strong, they're not going to come on. אני לא גמרתי עם מוישה, אני פה באמצע. איפה אתם? לא יודע, אני באמצע שיעור, נגשר אותך 10 דקות. So if you're going to teach your son with umnus, in the end what will be? Only Derech Eretz is so strong, the power of the needs, of the physical needs in the Western world, you're going to come to only Derech Eretz and not Torah. And for sure, do Yisuim and Averis is not going to be a kosher Jew. That's what he says. But if you teach him in the beginning only Torah, and then you wait 5 years, you give him the chance, or he wants to learn Torah day and night, you try to tell them, I want to give you the best advice. The best advice is umnus ha-Torah. Like all of you chosen, but if you're not, give him 5 years, it's not. So you tell him, okay, doing a malacha and umnus is not a sin, it's a mitzvah, even on Shabbos you have to do it. There's not a chatchila to teach, because it's not the best advice. But, even you, and this is very important, the statement I'm saying now, a lot of religious kids are growing yeshivas and don't stay in yeshiva, and then they feel that the years that when yeshiva was a waste, afterwards. So they feel, oh, I should have learned early a mitzvah, a profession, and they choked me to do things which I don't really want to do.
Those aren't bad.
Because first they don't know the real value. But the point is, if he wasn't in a position that he was learning Torah and they pushed Achbar al Torah in the beginning, now when he goes out, so then, but you have to know when to leave him out. Now that he breaks out, you have to let him out in the right direction, the proper balance of a rabbi to direct him. And when he goes out, he has Torah and Derech Eretz. And not Derech Eretz with no Torah or barely with Torah, some Torah. This is very important. But really, many years ago, they asked Rabbi Avramsky to come to the parliament and speak about why the religious people need, the yeshiva bochim need to have exemption from the army. What was the reason he gave?
It keeps a tyrannical government in check.
No, that's not the reason he gave. That's your reason. What the Rabbi Chatzkel Avramsky that came from London to Eretz Yisrael, he made an aliyah. He was the eldest rabbi and leader, and they brought him to the Knesset to say the reason why yeshiva bochim they have to be exempt of the army. He brought a Gemara Bobasa. The Gemara says that somewhere Gemara, where is it? I thought it was Bobasa, I couldn't find it later down. I think it's a Bobasa in the beginning, one of the pages. Afchet I thought, but I didn't find it. Kol apoirish midivre Torah eishoch losa. Anyone that leaves Torah, fire eats him up. Shiva bochim, what? Bobasa in ches. Okay, good. It's Bobasa. Anyone that learns Torah and leaves the Torah, fire eats him up. So he says, why we cannot go to the army? Very strange reason. I was a young boy to hear that. That's the reason. You should have said the army is a problem of girls, they don't have the proper infrastructure religious. He didn't say all that. He says they're learning Torah. If they leave Torah, fire eats them up. Which means he didn't give side reasons, he gave the essence reason. When somebody's learning Torah, how can you leave Torah? Somebody's involved with Eitz HaChaim. You know what's Eitz HaChaim? A tree of life. There's a big boat made out of wood. And a big storm cracks the boat to pieces, but he's flying 50 meters high and down and with the waves. And he sees a wood that he can hold on to it and he becomes alive. He's holding on to the wood. Eitz HaChaim. It's a tree of life. Somebody says, listen, come help me here. I can't leave the tree. I can't leave the wood. If I leave, I die. Fire will eat me up. The water will eat me up. I will be drowning. I can't leave the piece of wood, the Eitz HaChaim. Can I leave the wood of the tree of life? That's right. He didn't come out with reasoning that they have their own ideas and will make a decision to shoot and kill. There's no Sanhedrin that makes a decision. She'll become maybe a murderer. You need a Sanhedrin to say you can go or war now. And if not a Sanhedrin made the commander made a mistake, you're a murderer. How can I go to the army? There's no Sanhedrin, no decision of Sanhedrin. Tell me when can I shoot, when I kill, when I do it the proper way. They have a lachic ways how to do a war. You have to know how to do a war. If you don't follow the Torah of the war, you become a murderer. How do Jewish people make a war? They surround 3 ways, said anyone here should leave. If you don't leave, everybody's going to be killed. And then they go in, they killed even men, children, women, babies, everybody they killed. But they give them an option to run the 3rd, 4th way. Do we do that today in the Israeli army?
Yeah.
What? They do it in what way? In what way? This way. There's rules. Yeah, just there's rules how to make a war. Who to kill and when you have mercy, we don't. They have all those rules. He didn't say that. And he didn't say there's girls and women in and out this, which was not Tznius problem or Kasha's problem. Those are technical problems. The essence is what? Anyone that leaves Etz HaChaim, the tree of life, fire will eat him up. If a Shiva was running Torah, how can he leave Torah? And you know what? You think they accepted this reason or not?
Yes.
Yes, they accepted it.
Wow.
Accepted it. Talking about the 1970s.
You know why? Because he was integrity.
He felt it, it's real. But the problem is, and that's another gap, boys that don't learn and float in the yeshiva and work and try to use the yeshiva to be comfortable and run away from confronting and working hard and being an army and saving Jews from being murdered and killed. So how can I have such a yeshiva here in Zion? Of those type of guys? The answer is no. You need to give the boy 5 years, as the Gemara is called. You have to give his your child. What do? You wait a while. Now he's stupid. Doesn't have the full seichel. Maybe next year you walk up, give him more love, more training, you get trips, and along the line you will wake up and learn Torah. And that's what happened. 90% of the boys of the Israeli yeshiva here. 90%. If they stay a year or 2, when they get married, they straighten out and they go learn koil. Full day, half a day, but they become an Torah. You just have to wake, stay. You have to pass through them the how do you call it, the peshes. I said the
Craziness.
The craziness of the youth, of the probability of the youth, the stupidity of the youth. Once they grow up, then they say what's the real values. They grow and they shape up. That's what we do. And so why is that Nogea? Because a lot of those kids, it's not black and white. Some of them depends. Each one is individual. So I have to speak in general the idea, but it's not a general here. Since it's the type of yeshiva, a lot of them is on the borderline. So every boy is different, individual. You have to judge every boy. Some boys is good for him to go to the army because he's not punishment with Torah. You have to send him to the army to punish from the girls, to punish from the Ben Yehuda. Depends. You have to give him a chance every year, but after you give him all the chance, and after you give him all the chance, he's not doing it. So it's individually. There's no rules here. You have to have a rabbi with a beis din, make decision what's the right thing. It's not black and white. But anyhow, for us, for the Aspi Yeshiva, Baal Tshuva that we have here, people learning from the heart. It's not no ger. But if anybody in Yeshiva want to grow, okay, they sleep sometime in the morning, they're tired, but in general they're growing in a growing mode. A different story here. They're not being forced in because of the parents. They run away from the army. It's a different story. So that's why I'm not banging and even some give me drushes about it. Because it's not the point. It's not black and white. It's purple. It's a middle color. Gray. Okay, Hashem should give us the schus. Make the right decisions. And Am Yisrael be noisha. And those that do learn Torah, they agree, even they say, those that learn Torah, okay, they don't go to the army. But they have to really learn Torah. Those that work.
You believe them?
I don't believe them. But at least in the mouth they say that. In the last one, whatever they say in their mouth should be in reality. They should give us a bracha, tamar b'Torah, and I only can say one thing. With all that, the yeshiva is growing and more Torah has been learning. With Israel, in Israel's yeshivas, the Baal Tshuva, the American yeshiva, everybody, the Torah is growing and growing. More people learning Torah, and the Torah grows and grows. Ten Hashem will see rebuilding Beis Hamikdash and Mashiach Yom Yom.